What it do, baby? It's the one and only ChevReacts popping up. Bang. And in today's video, we be looking at most unusual athletes that you won't believe. Right? Most unusual athletes. That's what we be looking at today. First of all, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on post notifications, your bangers for hangers out 2020. Other than that, check it out.
The world of sports is a brilliant and bizarre place. From the men that go to extreme lengths in order to get the perfect body, to the downright weird regimes and wacky rituals they perform in the name of athletics. With that said, let's take a look at some of the most unusual athletes that you won't believe. Leotta machida. If you're a fan of MMA fighting like me, then you're in luck. Leotta machida is a UFC light heavyweight champion with an amazing record of 36 wins and just 9 losses. He won his first 16 bouts in a row, but this incredible fighting prowess doesn't just come from training alone. Leotta practices urotherapy. In English, he drinks his own pee. In several interviews, he's admitted he consumes his own vintage every morning as it's, and I quote,
Yo, what you doing? What you drinking your own urine for? That good for you? That good for you? How you do that? That good for you?
like a natural medicine. His father, Yoshizo Machida, claims to have influenced this stream of thinking and also partakes in the bizarre bathroom practice. If you ask me, that really takes the piss. Shin. Shin Tsuyoshi, or his given name Levin Gorgadze, is a professional sumo wrestler from Leotta, Georgia. He currently sits in Japan's top division of sumo wrestlers, which isn't exactly known for its diversity. Nevertheless, he weighs in and competes at a gigantic 178 kilograms. In contrast to many of his professional opponents, Shin obviously stands out for his build. Sumo wrestlers put on a lot of weight in order to fight more effectively. The bigger you are, the harder you are to knock down. Shin follows this.
Man, a black dude so huge. Well, I gotta give props. I respect them dudes. They got a spot for fat people. That's a good sumo. I respect them dudes. They so heavy you don't play with them. They get balled up and they fat and you choke. You can't breathe. Say him. I can't do that. I give props to them. Give props to them.
Same eating and training regimen of his opponents, but his Georgian genes allow him to develop a much broader frame, making him a standout in any fight. Previously, Shin has reached the second highest rank in sumo of Ozeki, one shy of Yokozuna. That's a huge title to carry for a foreigner, even on those massive shoulders. Takanoyama. But sumo isn't just about being big. Wrestling like this is a strategy game which has even allowed the likes of 98 kilogram Takanoyama's Shintaro to reach the top professional sumo.
Why does nigga look like he wearing one of them swings when you was a little kid when you had them swings with the hump handling? 216 pounds and you sumo wrestling? Why all them have these funny names? Takanoyama Shintaro. I guess that's where they from, but hey, they are unusual athletes.
Vision. Despite being only 2/3 the weight of an average sumo wrestler, Takanoyama, born Pavel Bojar of Prague, reached the 5th highest rank of sumo in 2012. His exceptionally light frame meant he relied heavily on throws and strategic movements rather than brute force to win the majority of his matches. Despite eating and training
tough.
to his opponents, he struggled to gain weight, which would have given him the advantage to move up the ranks. In 2011, he was given a warning by the Sumo Association for injecting insulin. It was an attempt to help him gain weight, but the scandal saw him retire soon after. Sometimes size really is everything. Gaji Amidu. There are sporting giants, and then there are literal giants. Gaji Amidu, also known as the Goliath of Romania, was born in September 1909. Due to a rare disorder called gigantism, Midu measured in at 7'9", making him the tallest Romanian in history, as well as the tallest professional boxer. Following a brief stint in the circus, Midu was spotted by Italian boxing scout Umberto Lancia. He attended the Paris School for Boxing, and at the age of 26 competed in his first boxing match against Italian.
I got a question, right? So you 7'9". How you boxing? If everyone way under you, how you boxing? And what's that for 9 people in your category? And most leagues you using is your foot. But I don't know.
Italian legend Savario Grizzo. Despite Grizzo's experience, Midu won by first-round knockout. His second match against Titan Dumitru Pavelescu ended in the same first-round knockout later that year. And his third match against Italian Giuseppe Songa ended with, you guessed it, yet another knockout. Now that's what you call a huge Midu movement. Son Ming Ming. But Midu wasn't the only giant to take a swipe at sporting history. Feast your eyes on Sun Ming Ming, the tallest professional basketball player in the world. In the 2017 to 2018 basketball season, the average height of NBA basketball players was 200.4 centimeters. Sun Ming Ming reaches a colossal 236.2 centimeters, with size 19 feet to boot, literally. In context, the average Chinese man only reaches 171 centimeters. Even though he was never drafted for any NBA teams, the towering player joined teams around the US, Mexico, Japan, and China before retiring in 2014. In 2013, Ming Ming married 187.3 centimeter professional handball player Yu Han. So their combined measurements make them the tallest married.
Hold on.
2014.
Look at this.
2013, Ming Ming married 187.3.
This woman is 5'6". How tall this little woman is? She's 5'6". That's not 5'6". They had to be wrong. They gotta be 6'6". They gotta be 5'6". Cause she leveled up with the doll. That's gotta be 6'6". This woman at the bottom could be 5'6".
Centimeter professional handball player Yu Han. So their combined measurements make them the tallest married couple in the world. You could say they're taking love to new heights. Joe Mangionello. You might not know his name, but your mom certainly does, and she's probably seen him naked. Joe Mangionello is a professional bodybuilder and actor who starred in Magic Mike. His fitness regimes have gifted him with one of the buffest spots in Hollywood, which he's also published in a workout manual called Evolution. But this guy is a beast in more ways than one. Mangionello has been a lifelong fan of the role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons, so much so he even converted the basement of the house he shares with wife Sofia Vergara into a real-life dungeon. But this king of geeks doesn't run sessions for just anyone. He's the dungeon master of the Hollywood elite. Director James Gunn, Rage Against the Machine's Tom Morello, actor Vince Vaughn, and The Big Show from WWE are just a couple of his party members. You might want to think twice before picking on nerds in the future. Jesper Parnevik. How far would you go to try and improve your golf game? If you're 15-time professional golf champion Jesper Parnevik, the limit doesn't exist. Dubbed the Spaceman, this famous eccentric is renowned for his otherworldly behaviors on and off the green. For a time, he ate volcanic sand to improve his health and performance. He also tried a diet limited only to fruit before he got so skinny and weak that he had to quit. He used to wear strobing glasses which are used in high-speed sports to improve reaction time. He's had his blood irradiated to try and improve his energy levels. He's even had all of his fillings removed and replaced with porcelain to reduce the amount of mercury in his system. And that's just off the course.
What are you doing on the floor?
He claims to have once missed a 2-foot putt at the tournament because he was thinking about how much rope it would take to circle the world on 3-foot high stakes.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you just can't make this stuff up. John Scott. In 2016, the National Hockey League overhauled the format of their All-Star game in an attempt to spice things up a bit. The 3-on-3 overtime tournament is an irrelevant extra in the grand scheme of the main game, so they allowed fans to vote for who they wanted to see play as a team captain. If there's anything we know, it's never to leave fans in charge of decisions like this. The UK voted to name a $287 million boat Bodie McBoatface, and Mountain Dew fans nearly had a flavor called diabetes, for God's sake. So why break from terrible internet tradition here? The worst player on the Coyotes team, John Scott, was nominated as captain. He'd scored a grand total of 5 goals in his career up to that point, mainly because his entire role in the team was to be bruiser by creating fish-shaped drama on the ice. So obviously the entire fan base voted for him to become.
I watch hockey before I'm voicing. All these are long games. First time I watch hockey, I was so confused because they had 15-minute quarters. No, they had I think 10-minute quarters and 15-minute intervals in between each quarter. Only the fun part I liked with it was the fighting. That's bring hype to the game. That's bring the most hype. I mean, yeah, they get skills because I wouldn't go no ice. I can't skate. So.
I'm Captain. The unusual move saw him as the punchline to a bad joke. But after a lot of pushback from the National Hockey League, Scott was allowed to be captain of the Pacific Division in the All-Star game. And that's when the tables took a serious turn. During the semifinal game, Scott scored not just one, but 2 incredible goals. His team skated into the finals, and the Pacific Division ended up winning the tournament. After being made the butt of the joke for months, Scott pulled a complete 180 and ended up being voted as the team's most valuable player. Now that's a real underdog story. Butterbean. On the theme of unlikely athletes, it would be a crime not to mention the notorious Eric Esch, a.k.a.
Butterbean, boy. I know what it is, but Butterbean.
The overweight miracle hitter had an unbelievable career that started out in a rural strongman competition in Arkansas. Showcasing an incredible constitution for blows to the head, arms, and body, Esch was put on at the beginning of boxing shows for entertainment value more than anything. These short 4-round bouts usually saw Esch put against a smaller opponent, and more often than not, ended in a knockout. In boxing alone, Butterbean won 77 of his 91 fights, a staggering 58 of them by knockout. Having been overweight since the age of 11, he was occasionally asked to go on diets to fit into certain weight categories. For one of those, he ate nothing but chicken and butter beans. Clearly, it was a hit. Taishan Don. As we've already established, being tall has some incredible advantages when it comes to boxing. Following in the very large footsteps of Goji Amitu, the 213-centimeter Chinese giant Taishan Don stepped...
What is going on in China? Why these people looking so tall?
...becoming a champion. With an 84-inch arm span, this formidable opponent managed to win all 6
yeah, that's cheating. That's honestly cheating. That gotta be cheating. You gotta be cheating. You gotta be cheating. You got that long wingspan so you can connect all the way out. You gotta be cheating.
Knockouts. That's not even the most impressive part of his performance. I mean, take a look at the way he enters the ring. He's not even stretching his leg all the way up to clear the top rope. Despite being the tallest thing to enter the boxing ring since 1935, Don disappeared into thin air at the end of 2015 with no further matches lined up. He made a brief reappearance in 2017 during tryouts for the WWE, but has since left voluntarily. That's a gigantic disappointment. Irani and Hulk. Some athletes have dreams of becoming sporting legends. Others simply want to look like an inverted triangle. With that said, meet Sajad, Irani, and Hulk Guri. For several months, the internet debated whether this was a real human or just an 8-year-old messing about in Photoshop. But he is real, ladies and gentlemen. At 400 pounds, this chronically necklace 27-year-old signed with the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship for a debut match in 2020. His Instagram may be filled with photos comparing himself to the actual Hulk to prove that he's the real deal. The only question here
Someone has to do it.
Can he put his arms down?
Someone has to do it.
Now that is something I'd pay to see. Junior Baby Albini. Who let a baby into the ring? No, we're not talking about this MMA fighter's weirdly diaper-shaped fighting shorts. You're looking at Junior Baby Albini. Although I'm fairly certain I recognize it from somewhere else. Even though this looks like a publicity stunt gone a bit too far, Baby was surprisingly deadly in the cage. Up until this point, he'd won 14 of his 16 matches, 6 of them by knockout. Originally, he'd gotten into boxing to lose weight, shedding around 90 pounds and becoming the world's deadliest toddler along the way. He claims he had no idea the shorts were going to look the way they did, but perhaps one look at his opponent made him think he'd need a diaper. Mick Foley. Wrestling fans the world over will tell you that Mick Foley is one of the founding fathers of hardcore wrestling. As part of the WWE in 1998, he performed in one of the most dangerous matches in history when he was thrown off a 22-foot steel cage, landing on a table below. Despite being wheeled off on a stretcher, the wrestler returned to be chokeslammed through the top of the metal cage, which knocked one of his teeth into his nose, and then powerbombed onto a load of thumbtacks. You'd assume this guy would be one of the most hardened, jaded men around to take that much of a beating.
But he had good. You had good. I mean, it's wrestling. But you had good.
But it's quite the opposite. Foley is known for having a real love of Christmas, so much so he has dedicated an entire
He look like Zano.
to the holiday season, which he can visit 24/7. He's also written 4 children's books, which have cover art that some might consider nightmare fuel. Maybe you can judge a book by its cover. So which of these did you think was the...
Okay, that's cap it off for this video. Most unusual athletes that you won't believe. Comment down below if you know any of these athletes, because I really don't know them. I don't know half of them. I probably remember the big 7'9" dude. He looked like someone from whatever the show name with Chris Rock and Jackie Chan, I think. I don't remember. But yeah, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on post notifications, show by his line as of 2020. I like the video. Comment down below what video you want to see next. Please follow me on my social medias. Link will be in the description. Other than that, see you next time. Peace.